Okay, everybody, this is a review on Synaptic's Unchirp. There wasn't a whole bunch out there on this, and I thought this is such a great program, I want to do a little review on it. I have a cold, so if I cough, I apologize in advance, and I got some holes in my mouth, so hopefully it's not too much of a distraction, but let's get right into it. So I was working on a project that had very old files and I needed to restore for a soundtrack, and here's an example of this cymbal. It sounds a little watery. It's not really watery, but it's there and it's kind of muffled. So let's listen to that. One more time. That kind of it sounds watery to me. So what we'll do is going to highlight that cymbal, and I'm going to run unchirp with it. Now this is the way I have it set up here. To be honest, I don't know what are the optimal settings for you. You have to experiment. This works best for me when I'm trying to get rid of that watery sound and I want to add a little bit of high-end energy to it. But before we do that, let's go back and look at what the general the LKFS is. This is the average level of the signal, so at negative 16.7. So after I apply this, it's going to raise in volume, and it's going to automatically make it sound better. But in order to be objective, we need to lower that back to the 16.7. So I set it for 16.7. After I apply unchirp, we'll see what it does, and then we'll go back and objectively test it. So here is unchirp. Let's process it. Now you can see already what happened here. If you're not familiar with a spectrogram, this is hertz here. These are the lower bass sounds. This is mid-range, and then here's the higher end treble sounds. Go back to the before, and then if you look, and I did it after the plug-in, see how much brighter it got up here in the higher area? Now let's listen to, as you can see, it went up to negative 14.7, so it got louder. Let's lower it back down. So now I've got the before and the after. I'm going to go back and forth so you can hear them. So just watch my mouse as I click back and forth. Much crisper. It's got rid of some of that muddiness and it's less watery sounding. This is kind of a subtle example, but for the past 3 years I've been working on a soundtrack where I had tons of this stuff, and I originally purchased Synaptic's Unfilter, which is a great program, but I found that this one worked even better for me, and it doesn't seem to be getting the attention it needs. So let's go to another example. Alright, the next example is a little more extreme. These cymbals here, I don't like them. They sound pretty watery to me. Okay, so let's measure their decibel rating. Got 20.9. And then let's apply unchirp. See it raised up, and then we'll lower it back down to its original setting, so it's an objective comparison. Go back to the original. And after. Before. Tighter, and look at all those extra harmonics that it added. Well, it emphasized, I think, what's already there, and then it added its own harmonics without sounding distorted, which is just incredible. Now, I've used this program so many times in the past 3 years. Without it, I would have been really lost, and I would not have been able to restore this soundtrack that needed the restoration that it did. It was that good. So I recommend you to look into it. It's by Synaptic. It's called Unchirp. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.